these knowledge, skills, and aptitudes. Now basically you're ready to try to create your own assessment tasks. I won't do it to you, I don't have time, but if I would, I would. Yeah, it's actually it's a very interesting procedure. It's a very different test development exercise. Moving to construct a model, you're not writing task anymore. It's harder first, but at the end, it's much, much more productive. This is your typical test development workflow that many test development companies are using. I know that you're well familiar with this. I just put it in just in case to remind you, more to remind myself what it is. Cut scores, and basically we are done. In our paradigm, the picture would be a little bit different. Test development workflow would change. This is the typical test development workflow. This is the evidence-centered design test development workflow. What we will do. Content specifications. This is your proficiency model. Test blueprint. This is your evidence model. Item writing, it's a task writing, but it goes to the very end. Statistical analysis, it's your evidence model. You see your statistics built into the item already, into the task. While in the test development procedure, statistics come after the item is written. Here, statistics or Bayesian networking analysis is incorporated inside your task, inside your item. Then you create a task model, a task, and then you basically circle. So this is a little bit more explicit picture of what is happening. So proficiency model. You design claims. You design reporting variables, what you want to report. Proficiencies, knowledge, skills, and aptitudes, which you will get, of course, from the job analysis, cognitive task analysis. Then you will, after you design, you know what you want to measure, say critical thinking skills. You start to create evidence model, what evidences you need to know that person has those critical thinking skills. You will design evidential arguments, and you will put statistical model in immediately. This is your, when you saw this tree with branches go like this, I didn't tell you, but this is a statistical model of conditional probability that built in. Each part of this tree is connected by conditional probability, by certain matrices. So it's built into the item. Statistics doesn't, it's not separated anymore. Then, after you build everything in, you start to create your task model, which is task design, content linking. And finally, you get the task. Yes, please. Sure.
When it comes to proficiency model, there are three sub-components: claims, reporting variables, and knowledge, strategy, and skills. Could you explain what the difference between these three sub-components? If you can give example, that'll be the perfect.
Certainly. Okay. Okay, it works. Okay, reporting variables. What kind of variables you want to report? You want to say in your report, in your student report, what you want to give to a student. Say, I will tell you a little bit how ICT assessment will work. After student will take the assessment, a report will be produced automatically saying that, for example, you don't have this proficiency, or this proficiency is high, or this proficiency is medium or low because you didn't do this, this, and this thing, which are observables. So the reporting variables, it's your observables. Do you remember the intersections and so forth in ICT literacy, syntaxes? So those are reporting variables. Huh? Well, no, because first you have to know what you measure, what kind of proficiencies, and then you have to know what kind of evidences of these proficiencies. So you need to think about observables right away before you design the task. Oh, the reporting variables. No, the reporting, as soon as you know the proficiencies, you have to know your evidences. You have to know the observables. What kind of observables? And then from evidence model, you basically, this is a thing evidence model will do connection between unobservable proficiencies and observables. It basically, it connects them by certain evidential rules. And if you're interested what those rules are, I will tell you. This is the connecting stage. I build the connection. I have all these elements here. Now I need to build the connection in between them. So I'm saying this is evidence model. I'm using evidential arguments to build the connection. And then I'm designing the task. And if you remember, this thing will call conceptual assessment framework. So I'm not telling you a lot of things, as you guessed already, because we have little time. And the more we talk, the more complex subject will be, the more technical. Again, if you're interested, I would gladly talk about it. Did I answer the question? It was a long answer to a short question, sorry. Well, too many notes. As Emperor Joseph II sent to Mozart. So again, power in general to our abstract representation. It reveals similarities between different kind of assessment. Before we design assessments very differently. Say assessment in mathematics was designed differently from assessment in language. Mathematical reasoning test, say, is different from verbal reasoning test, the way we designed it. But apparently, they're not that different if you will take this approach. So you have a common machinery to design pretty much everything, any test or any assessment instrument you want. So you have to work from the first principles. Because usually you write the item and then many people think what this item is testing. Now you think what you want to test and then you write the task. So at the end, I want to know what worked, what didn't work. What do you want to know still? This is a question for you.
What I would still want to learn is the Bayesian model of statistical analysis, and how do you integrate it in that? And what worked? ECD worked?
Okay. Any more critique, outburst, cries, questions? Yes, please.
It's a very interesting workshop presentation. I love it. And if there's some more examples, will be more helpful. Actually, I have been working on evidence-centered design for a while. However, it's still a very abstract. It's because there have like so many layers under this system. So it's helpful to provide more examples, maybe hands-on experience. I think it will be help for the audience to understand. But you did a great job presenting it.
I think I agree, more examples and basically hands-on experience would do good. But unfortunately, we didn't have much time to do that. I just introduced you to a general principle. Okay, Bill?
So 2 little questions. Have you been designing a test, or have you been designing assessments? So that was question 1. The second question, explain to me what was formative about the exercise.
Great questions, and very hard questions to answer. What was, I will start with the what was formative. Can you help me? What was formative? I didn't say a word about formative. I just said it at the beginning, and then I never came back to this. What is formative? Can you guess? Yeah, okay. And so, but what is formative? Can you help me to answer, Bill? What is formative about this? Yeah, what is formative in the design? Yeah, you're right. But formative is not just feedback. In formative assessment, person has to learn, and a person has to improve. In this case, it would be formative. Yes, we do have assessment because of the evidence center chain, of the evidence chain design. At any stage of the chain, I could tell a student what the problem is. And I could tell a student what to do to overcome this problem. Hopefully student will improve. This is just a hope. It answers your question about the formative part. So at any kind, at the end of the assessment, would be produced individual students' report. It's not just the score, the summative score. You got, I don't know, 500, or you are proficient or not proficient. We would rather say one of your proficiencies, okay, we could produce summative results, say your proficiency, you are high proficiency or low proficiency. Also, we could produce formative results. Say each proficiencies, like in ICT assessment, each task has several proficiencies. Yeah, layers. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's each layer. Yeah. It's it is not. Yeah, it's not just the summative result of the student. Uh, yeah, this is the formative part. I don't know whether Bill happy with this answer.
Because it's all very well to say that feedback, that they learnt about various steps, but did the pupil have a role in moving the learning on as part of that?
Yeah. Yes, Bill touches another thing here. Of course, we can give a feedback by the layer, but what students would do? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is, yes, it is there, but also the students above giving students a report on each layer of evidence-centered design. Also, the assessment is able to produce tasks. So if the student did not really well on a certain proficiency, student would be given a certain task automatically generated that targeted this proficiency and tells the student, actually we could do even instructions. This is just the plan, it's not, we didn't do it actually. This is just the plan. Yes?
It integrates constructivist design with technology and with development in psychometrics. So if we take all the three in together and then see it, it is kind of holistic, and it takes into account the student, like the student they are at the center of the learning.
Yes, but student has to, it's a discussion, but student has to do something about it. It's not just we give a student a report or say, this proficiency is not good and this proficiency is not good. But student has to do something. To have some kind of treatment to get better. It's what formative assessment is. Yeah, so it's not enough to just give a report. We need, this assessment needs to have a capability of making students do certain things to improve. And theoretically, we could do it. Theoretically, because this assessment could be designed automatically. It's automatic item generation. Assessment could we could give a student tasks that are targeted certain proficiencies the student are not good with, and to train a person, to explain the person what to do and how to do things. I see the assessment is, in a sense, could be adaptive. I didn't say it here, but it could be made almost computer adaptive, meaning that will adapt to the level of proficiency of individual student. If student cannot do the task with certain set of proficiencies, a student could choose, or it could first, a student could be directed automatically to a simpler task, meaning with the simple set of proficiencies or less amount of proficiencies. I have 5 minutes, thank you. Or student could design a task in the sense of choosing that and that proficiency. And since this is automatic generation, the computer will generate a task for a student with this set of proficiency. In this sense, yes, student could participate by choosing what he or she wants to be tested in.
Is it possible to advocate the evidence-based design in the large-scale assessments?
Yeah, it originally was designed for the large-scale assessment. It wasn't designed for the formative school assessment.
Is there any large-scale survey in the world has adopted this model? Is there any large-scale surveys in the world has adopted this evidence-centered model?
Okay, this is not too many assessments in the world. I'm sorry, I should answer Bill because I. Is it okay? The answer. Oh, thank you. Yeah, the question was, I just have a few minutes left. Do we have any assessment which uses evidence-centered design? Not too many. I know of one which was created in ETS. The problem is, with this kind of assessments, we found out if you design assessment in a conventional way, you wouldn't be able to move it to the evidence-centered design. The assessment should be created from the very beginning using evidence-centered design technique. It's one part. Another part of the difficulty is it's not conventional item response theory statistic. Not too many assessment in the world uses Bayesian networking for assessment. Bayesian networking wasn't created for educational assessment at all. It was created for completely different purposes. We just start to use it for assessment, this kind of decision-making trees. Yeah, I know only one assessment instrument that was designed using SCD. It was in ETS, and it was, I think, assessment was designed in 2004. Other than that, I'm not aware of any. Well, there were some problems, but assessment did work. With this assessment started also from the very beginning at 2004, the idea with the World Bank. We had some results, some piloted results a long time ago. The scoring system didn't work quite well, but we are improving it. Any more questions, please? Thank you very much. You've been a lovely audience.